Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Gem Drafter. I'm here with Payson once again. I think this is numero seis.
Uh-oh. Uh,
I guess
so
I'm
your
in
cat
trouble,
just
guys.
got me right at the start. Your cat just got me right on your shoulder, just like popped up.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Nice.
It's perfect. It's good.
Anyway, I guess for the listening crowd only, I didn't say my name. My name is James Newton. Hopefully you guys know that by now if you're listeners, but if you're new, welcome in. So we got some interesting stuff to talk about today, mostly like trade stuff and kind of player debates. And then we are actually going to do kind of a dynasty league breakdown of one of our leagues where we kind of rank the teams and I guess kind of spoiler alert. I didn't really do ranks. I kind of did tiers for that because I thought it was really hard to rank some of the teams in front of each other. But anyway, let's jump into the first topic I got here, and it is a conversation that led to a trade, couple offers back and forth with our good buddy TJ in a couple of our leagues. So this initial trade offer happened in a 14-team Superflex league. He offered me J.K. Dobbins and Travis Etienne for the 102 and the 107. And for context, I have a really good team that's like a contender, and he owns a lot of young assets and a lot of, obviously he has Dobbins and ETN, and he has a decent amount of 2023 picks, I believe, still. So I told him I thought it was too high of a value for ETN and Dobbins. Like maybe Dobbins is in that 107 range, but to give up the 102 for both of those guys coming back from injury, I wasn't feeling that.
So I think Dobbins is still worth more than the 107, but I'm not doing any more trades for Dobbins. So stopping you right there. Like I'm not doing it. But Dobbins is worth more than 107. I think he is closer to the 102, but still not to the 102. And I think ETN is worth less than the 107.
If you think about it in terms of running backs, and we're gonna talk about this with Akers too, like that 107 range for one of these running backs, yes, they have dealt with injuries. Every running back is gonna deal with injuries, and you got to think you would rather have one of those guys than the third running back in this class, probably, right?
Yeah. If you need a running back, you got to trade because at this point, Walker's not going to be there at 107 or 106 even.
So then another question that you ask yourself, if you're gonna go that route of trying to get another running back, do you really want to pay up for a younger guy, less proven, that's coming off an injury, or do you want to pay like way cheaper for like, I guess not way cheaper, but in some spots you might be able to get guys like Mixon or Derrick Henry cheaper.
I'm going to go a tier lower than that. My two favorite guys. Got to go for Connor and Fournette. Those are my two like mid to early second round pick valuation. I feel like those outproduce that pick 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, my thing with those guys is that I'm worried about the draft kind of shooting their value down a little bit. I'm sure they'll still produce, even if somebody gets drafted in the third round to one of those spots.
Well, it has to
Because
be Brees or Walker. I'm not scared about anybody else in this draft.
mm, I mean,
Like Rashad White gets drafted somewhere. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
well, I mean, you said the wrong white. So if it's
You want
Zamir White gets drafted,
Zakondre? What's his
no,
Zonovan? Zonovan.
not Zaquandre.
Donovan White.
Take Kevin
You can see
Harris
how
over
much college
Zaquandre.
football I watch.
Um, So back on track though with the I kind of got us sidetracked there. Back on track with the Dobbins ETN talk. So my counter proposal for taking on the risk of ETN and Dobbins was adding a high 23 first for 102 and 107, which TJ was not buying at all. Um, he that first in this league in a 14 team league is definitely top 4 in my opinion. So that's you're talking Bijan Gibbs, Boutte, one of the quarterbacks, or maybe two of the quarterbacks instead of Boutte. So like he's not. I'm gonna have to like go to his house and beat him up and take that pick from him. There's no other way to get it.
You really think? Yeah, okay. I was looking at my my rankings right there at 4.
Oh, gotcha. But that's a different league. Unless you
Oh, that
think
is
Heroes
okay.
Villain.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting confused
Um,
between the team names. It's tough.
yeah, so I said to him I'd rather have Walker and then my pick of the litter at 7 versus Dobbins and ETN. Um,
Yeah,
so quickly before we jumped on, I kind of looked up some Liz Frank stuff because that was ETN's injury. And there's actually a significant difference between breaking the bone and having just a tear. I don't know how you can have a break or a fracture or a tear. I don't really quite understand the Liz Frank ligament, I guess. I'm not a doctor. So I looked up ETN's actual injury and it says he suffered a significant tear to the Liz Frank ligament. So he didn't actually break anything or fracture anything, which was what I believe Amir Abdullah did. Not comparing him to Amir Abdullah, but he was a good prospect for a little while there. And the only I found this thread on Reddit, and the only significant player that fractured that I could find and came back and was like a beast is Julio Jones. Um, and then the rest of these guys that I'm gonna name were all just tears or like strains, which I guess is a tear. Brian Westbrook, Le'Veon Bell, Maurice Jones-Drew, Santonio Holmes, Cedric Benson, Ronnie Brown, Darren McFadden. I don't know why Ted Ginn Jr. is on this list. I mean, I guess he was good for a
because
little
he's
bit.
elite.
Yeah. So I guess I'm kind of backtracking a little bit on my ETN stance then. Like there might be some more reason for optimism than what I'm projecting and like talking down on him. But it's still a lot of risk for two guys that are coming back from injury.
Yeah, I kind of like ETN this year, but I like him more from a redraft perspective because it feels like fifth, sixth round, he's probably a value in redraft. But I don't know that like I want to take the risk that ETN can't come back and then you just get straight 0 because like his
Yeah.
value, if he looks bad the first few games, is just going to tank. And I don't know if that's worth it in value right now. How much you have to pay for ETN?
And I understand like for certain like situations paying a certain price for ETN, like a team that is not trying to win now, but in that particular league, like I have Mahomes and Rodgers and Chubb and Barkley, so like I'm trying to win. I'm not trying to take on risk for a young asset that's coming off an injury. I'd rather, at that point, I'd rather take on Derrick Henry risk
Yeah,
because the upside is like 2,000 yard season. You know,
yeah. You'd
it,
rather
it's
have the opportunity for more production. ETN's like you're basically playing the rookie card and just hoping that they turn into an asset that's worth a lot or productive. And the idea that he's going to be productive on that Jags team next year is maybe a little questionable.
exactly. But I mean, the you can't deny. I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but you can't deny the upside is there for sure. Like, dude is an explosive athlete, and let's just hope he can recover fully from his injury.
Yeah.
So, that initial trade did not happen, but then it led us to because Akers is kind of in the same ilk of those guys. So then TJ said to me, like, what would you do if it was Akers instead of like ETN or instead of Dobbins in that deal? And I was like, well, I'd probably like it a little bit more because Akers has returned from the injury, and we'll get into this. That first game, people were going crazy about Akers. That first game, he had that big sideline catch, and Arizona's not quite as good of a run defense as the other three teams that they played in the playoffs on their way to the Super Bowl. But so he asked me if I would what I would do straight up for Akers, and just off top, I said 107. What do you think of that value?
Well, I think I'm ETN over Akers, so.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
But I think Akers is probably worth that. Like he's worth more than like the 109, 110, 111 range. So that puts him in that 107 range, but I think I'd prefer 107. So it's like somewhere in between there. I'd probably like if I'm trading Akers for or trading 107 for Akers, I want something back later in the draft. And it's probably the same way if I'm trading Akers for 107. Like
That
I'm
was kind
thinking that I want more. I don't want to just a straight even trade.
that was kind of the tough thing about this deal is that he just only thing he had was 23 firsts. Like he doesn't have any seconds or thirds or fourths. He kind of consolidated all of those already, so it wasn't really much to add on to get back. I do regret not saying 110 first because I did have the 110 as well. But I
Yeah.
mean, it is what it is. I'm happy with it. Maybe a little bit of an overpay, but
I like
sometimes
that
that's what you gotta do.
you were committed. You like locked in already because
Yeah, you know what's funny
it's
is
in the DMs.
yeah, you know what's funny is after that he pulled so okay, he pulled the trigger on trading 4 acres after he asked me that question. He traded a 23 first, which is yours actually, and your team's pretty good in that league. 4 acres, and then he sent after that conversation, he sent me the trade acres for 107 and did like a little handshake emoji. And I was like, actually, dude, I think I'm good on that. And he was,
Little
I'm
pass.
sure like he didn't say anything at first because I came back right away and was like, LOL, just kidding. And I took it. But I'm sure at first he's like, WTF, bro. Like, um, so I guess yeah, I kind of quickly cited those other 2 trades. So he traded away your 23 first, projects to be in a 14 team, probably a playoff team, so a bottom 7 pick. Unless you decide, I mean, I don't know why you would decide to not try to make the playoffs when you don't have your 23 first.
Yeah. No, I got to make the playoffs. I got to win. I'm gonna win the whole
So,
thing. I got to stop somebody else from winning in that league.
what do you think about that pick versus 107?
So because I like this draft, I'd prefer to have 107. Like give me
I agree.
107 versus the 23 first, especially in a 14 team league, because then you're risking that it's, you know, 13 or 14. Let's go 14.
Yeah, let's go
But really,
13.
it's like the talent that everybody talks about in the 23 class, it's still early talent. Like you still got to have a top pick. It's not like a deep class next year.
Not
I
yet,
think
at
probably
least.
the first 8 or so are, yeah, maybe better than 102, 103 this year. But once you get after those, then I think you're maybe preferring this year's class. As I
The
said
thing
in
about
the last pod, the players in this draft from like 102 to 206 are probably all worth the 110.
yeah, I think the thing about 23 is that there's like probably 4 or 5 heavy hitter running backs, whereas this class only has 2. So it's kind of like comparing 2018 or 2019 to 2020, which actually 2020 kind of turned out to be a little bit of a bust. But I'm kind of jumping around here. I just want to quickly touch on this Akers stuff because you keep saying how much you don't like Akers and that he didn't look good. And I heard on the fantasy footballers they were ragging on Akers a little bit this last episode, citing his 2.5 yards per carry when he came back in the playoffs. But I have some defensive team stats here for the teams that he went up against in the playoffs. So team stat, opponent rushing yards, or I'm gonna start with the touchdowns. Opponent rushing touchdowns per game. So it's touchdowns allowed by these teams. Arizona was 4th, Tampa Bay was 5th, Cincy was 8th, and San Francisco was 22nd. But I mean, you're talking about the difference of a point 0.4 to 1.0. So not that much of a difference, but just kind of speaks to like the level of defenses, and it's the NFL playoffs, man. Like they're playing against good teams with good defenses. And then as far as opponent rushing yards per game allowed, Tampa Bay was third best, San Francisco sixth, Cincinnati seventh, and then Arizona was down at 21, giving up 116 yards per game. So I didn't look at exactly. I can pull it up real quick. What Akers had against the Cardinals, and that was his first game back, coming back from under under 1 year from torn Achilles. Looks like against Arizona, yeah, bad average, but he did have one big 40-yard reception. That was the one I was talking about. And then in the Tampa Bay game, obviously those two terrible fumbles. Holy crap, 24 for 48. I mean, it looks bad, but like I'm
Does
saying,
is it bad? I think it looks bad. I think it is bad.
yeah, it's the numbers are bad, but I think the player is still good as a prospect. Fresh coming off that injury, and playing some tough teams. That's just my
Yeah.
argument. I guess I'm trying to argue for what I had to pay for him.
Yeah. I can see Akers working out like the good running back and a good offense. I think that plays well for Akers, but still I don't think he's like any better talent wise than a lot of the other running backs in that range, in that, RB 8 to RB 20 range. I think he's kind of in that bucket. They're all the same, but with the injury, I feel like he's more towards the back of that bucket as opposed to the top.
Yeah, but he's come back from the injury. So you said you would take ETN over him, who hasn't come back from the injury in a worse situation. And
Yeah.
people are ragging on people are ragging on Kenneth Walker for not being able to catch the ball. ETN actually said he's quoted as saying he was scared to catch the ball coming out of college, which I think is overblown. But just saying, those it's funny when people use those points. But Akers is like a proven pass catcher.
Yeah. It's all about
Um,
the unknown. So ETN's unknown could look amazing when he comes back versus Akers. The first blush was, he's not that great right now. And
and I think
I wonder
Akers
if it's because of the injury, not because of the defense he's playing or played against.
it very well could be. That's a good point. Um, I guess I just like that he came back from the injury already, so he's like on the field right now, and he is just as young as these other. I think Akers isn't even 23 yet. I believe he's like 22.8. So it's another
I
feather in his
also just
cap.
saw that. Yeah, 22.8 on Player Profiler. Yeah,
And just the situation itself, and then the fact that like they don't have many picks because of what they paid for Matthew Stafford, it just makes me feel comfortable that I definitely think he's better than Daryl Henderson. So I'm not that worried about him, other than if the injury causes something else. Anyway, at 20 minutes of talking about one trade that I made in Cam Akers, so I want to move
defending
on.
your overpay.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I have to. Um, Nico Titan. Let's talk about Nico Titan, and it's kind of going to lead us into the Newt's Big Boots League breakdown slash rankings stuff. So this conversation kind of started. I mean, it's a brief conversation, but it started because he owed for 2023. He didn't have his 2023 pick, and I noticed it, and I was like, hey, like, and I noticed it for J Hart too, which shout out to J Hart 777. Got that payment in quick. Appreciate that, buddy. Uh, so I was asking Nico Titan about his payment, and then he paid yesterday, and then he said, okay, now you can send me that offer you've been waiting to send me now. So I offered him basically Lamb and a throw in for Brady, Dalvin Cook, and Terry McLaurin, which I know is high, probably, but those are like aging vets with more risk than CeeDee Lamb. Like CeeDee Lamb's a second round startup pick. Cook is probably a mid-third, right?
I was going to go more like fourth or fifth.
There, see, and then McLaurin's like at least fifth, sixth, if not seventh. And Brady is, you know, production for a year if he stays healthy, but dust for dynasty value. So it's like I'm trading back from my second round startup pick mid second to like mid third and getting a seventh.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty easy 3 random first value. Like Lauren's worth a first, Cook's worth a first, Brady's worth a first still, even though Brady only has a year left. So 3 first for Lamb, that feels fine. I'd say that from a team value standpoint, like you would much rather have Cook, Lauren, and Brady just because like you got to start people throughout the year. And those are quality starters, at least for this year. So it's like if you're competing, you definitely want the 3 side that the Brady, Cook, and McLaurin side. But if you're rebuilding at all, you're definitely on the Lamb side.
You know, I was about to say there's no way that anyone's going to get a first for Brady, but I think we broke down a trade where Benny Raiders got a first for Brady.
Yeah,
So I'm wrong. That's
and
crazy.
I
Crazy
feel like
talk.
I would. I don't want to like commit to this on the pod, but I think there are some leagues where I would pay a first for Brady.
I don't have any
Maybe,
Brady, so you don't have anything to worry about.
maybe a trading camp. Trading camp. I think I did a QB. Like, would you
Yeah,
rather have Brady or uh, Cousins?
Cousins.
I think I'm Brady there.
I mean,
Brady or Wentz?
it's crazy to. It depends on the team. Depends. I think that's really close. And I know Wentz is like kind of dusty, but
Kinda dusty. He's
uh
dusty.
yeah.
He's got
But I
webs
mean,
all
like
over
when you
his face.
it's
Oh,
crazy to think about Kirk Cousins to Tom Brady is a 10-year difference. That's crazy to
but
say out
how
loud.
many years of playing in the NFL is it? Like Brady, do you get 1 year? Do you get 2 years? Cousins, do you get 1 year? Do you get 2 years?
So I'm pulling up Nico Titan's team real quick. Oops. Wrong thing here. I gotta click on this screen. Just want to enlarge it for you guys. So this is his team. So I understand why, like, he wants to keep Brady because for the listeners, his quarterbacks are Cousins, Brady, Sam Darnold, and then he has win now running backs in Cook and Ezekiel Elliott. And before I get into the wide receivers and tight ends, just the fact that Cook and Elliott are his only running backs, and then he has Daryl Henderson and like McKissick. That's not good depth. I mean, this is just a team, no future picks. I mean, he has later round picks, but no first round picks in the future. That's just not a position I'd want to be in. One running back injury and you're toast.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, he was number 11 on my list, or
For
his team
sure.
was
So
number 11.
let's just get into that. Let's why don't, since I kind of have them in tiers, I'm gonna scroll down here. Why don't you start with your number 12? Oh wait,
My
hold on.
number 12.
Hold on. Sorry.
Oh,
I gotta quickly just lay out this is a 12 team super flex league. I believe it's start 10 with 2 starting tight end positions. So it's quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, a flex and a super flex. And then it's a 30-man roster. It's a staggered PPR. So it's half point for running backs, full for wide receiver, and 1.5 for tight end. And then there is a component of a 0.1 points per carry that's kind of overlooked for the running back. So like a workhorse running back is getting like an extra 4 to 5 points per game. I just wanted to throw
I
that out
totally knew that was part of the settings.
there. When you traded me, rhymes with dang it. I'm so bad at thinking of stuff on the spot. Also, I'm trying to fight off this cat from walking on the screen. Anyway, go ahead with your number 12.
Well, so I'm going to talk generically first. So as I was going through and ranking folks or ranking teams, I gave scores to starters, depth, age, and draft picks. And I kind of separated my thought process for each of those to try to say, like, well, is this team going to potentially win in 22, or is it better built for the future? And I think there's a good point of separating out the age of the current group versus the draft picks, because like if you've got a bunch of future draft picks, which we'll get into with like TJ, he has 7 firsts. Most of those are 23 first, but he does have an early 22 first. But with those draft picks, like how do you think about the rest of your team? Like, does that make it a good dynasty team, or it's not really? It's like the kind of the unfinished or the NA ranking. But for a lot of the teams, the tight ends. It's like the haves and the have-nots. So my last ranked team with a 3.75 ranking or score, which everybody got a score. I just ranked everything like 0 to 10.
Okay.
Was Cooper 34. So
Okay.
he only has one QB, Jalen Hurts, and his tight end 2 is Brevin Jordan. Doesn't have a lot of depth, doesn't have that great of starters, doesn't have any draft picks. So it felt like that was kind of the worst team in the league right now. Sorry, Cooper.
I have bottom tier of 4 teams, and he's in this bottom tier. So I would say if I had to rank him, I would probably go 10. Just because I think that he could break down assets like he overpaid for Chase big time in that dispersal draft. So I think that he could definitely break down Jonathan Taylor, Jamar Chase, and find a Deontay Johnson lover to kind of make up for some of his shortcomings in the other positions. Um, so that was kind of why I had him a little bit higher. I think he has a little bit of star power to get back to some flexibility. For the just people that are just listening, his quarterback is Jalen Hurts, and I say quarterback because he only has one. So that does hurt him a little bit. And then he has Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Naheem Hines, Alexander Madison, James Robinson. Uh, Obviously, I said Jamar Chase, Deontay Johnson. So this is one of his stronger areas is the young stud wide receiver heading it off, and then has some other good prospects underneath. But you're right, like little depth, nothing at tight end. I mean, Ertz, yeah, he got extended, but he's old, and we don't know if he's still got it. So I think that's a fair ranking. And so
And somebody had to be last. So
yeah, somebody always has to be last. Not me though. Uh, not you, and not you. I have you pretty high up here. So Nico Titan was your number 11. I'll just pull his team up again real quick, and we kind of already touched on why. It's like he has good quality veterans, and like obviously has DK Metcalf and Debo and Terry McLaurin aren't old yet, and neither are the running backs. They're not old, but definitely on the side of like declining value with some of these assets, especially Tom
yeah,
Brady, and like he's relying on Komet to be good this year and Gronk to even play football.
yeah. So for mine, he's got that Viking stack. So if the Vikings are good, he's good. He's got the Brady Gronk stack, and then I think he is probably in the 3-4 range for winning it in 22. Like not my favorite to win it all, but still he's up there. So you're trying to win now. Maybe it looks less like a true dynasty team, and maybe I prefer it less from a dynasty perspective. But I think he's still good for 22.
Yeah, and like I think it kind of speaks to the health of this league now with this new blood coming in with that big dispersal. I mean, Nico is an original owner in this league, but if he wanted to try to go get his pick back, it probably would be expensive because I think TJ probably has it. But maybe
When in doubt, TJ has it.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But like he could definitely send out Cook, send out Elliott, even send out Cousins and Brady and just get a bunch of picks back. And this team is not like 4 years away from like,
Yeah.
rebuilding to be a team built with youth. Like he could easily like flip it out. But that's not the type of dynasty player that he is. And yeah, not much else to say about Nico. I mean, I think we touched he doesn't have any picks in 22 and 23.
So was Nico part of your bottom tier?
Yeah, yeah. If I would put him at 11 as well, just because
Okay.
it's not how I play Dynasty. I understand, and like he got a lot of downgrades, like that hurt him. He probably would have been in like the 7-8 range, but like uh Renfro getting downgraded with Adams coming to town. Um, Lazard getting downgraded with Sammy Watkins coming to town. Just kidding.
Lazard getting upgraded. Upgraded.
Yeah. Beckham coming off torn ACL, like just he had Calvin Ridley, I think. Yeah. So I don't even know if he's gonna ever play again. I've said that on the podcast before. Just a lot of downgrades there for not his fault.
Yeah.
So since I have them in tiers, I'm just gonna have you go up your rankings and then I'll just
We'll just keep going with mine.
Yeah.
All right. It's weird to say this one. My nipple's my choice.
I just say nips.
Nips, yes. My nipple's not my choice. I didn't really like his starters or depth, so his current team position's not that great. He does have
Doesn't even have a third wide receiver.
Yeah, he is not set up well for success in 22, but he does have a lot of draft picks. So the future value helped him, and he does have the 101. But I think with that team, I don't know that the 101's helping him enough. So I'd prefer not to have the 101. I'm probably trading the 101, and he might still.
Well, so spoiler alert for some of the trade section, he just traded for that 101 from me. He gave up 104 and 111 to go get that 101. So I didn't think that made sense for his team. Maybe he's thinking trade off one of these QBs, and if a QB lands in Carolina or a good landing spot that he likes, maybe he
I think he just traded for Trubisky too, didn't he?
Could be. I think he just traded away. I'll save that one. Or you know what? No, I shouldn't. I'm going to scroll down. So he just traded away Darnell Mooney. That's one of the trades that we had for this league. So I'm kind of integrating these trades into this Dynasty League breakdown. But he traded away Darnell Mooney for a 23 second and 23 third. And then I just have on here Darnell Mooney's profile kind of. He's 24 years old. I think we've touched on before. You don't think that he can be a wide receiver one in an offense. I don't know if I'm speaking correctly for you there. But
no, you're right. Yeah.
Last year, low end wide receiver 2 on a terrible Bears team with a QB carousel going on. Had 140 targets, 81 receptions for 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns. So like kind of that DJ Moore type of year with a terrible catch percentage. So hopefully that goes up for him. But and then just quickly his athletic profile, 4.38 40 guy with 71st percentile burst.
What's that speed score? Because he's small.
43rd percentile. But I think that's too I don't particularly like the weight of that. No pun intended.
See, I obviously do a little bit, and I feel like there's also this transition. Is it just like kids these days don't like to eat? Like everybody is small. Like Wilson's small, Olave is small, Olave is really small. I'm just kidding. But I think there's like the old school, like 220, 6'2", 220 with a 4.4 speed, like that wide receiver. It's kind of like gone, which is weird to me.
See, I appreciate the stat. Get out of here, cat. But I think it matters more for the heavy, thicker guys that run fast. I think that matters more than like the light guys that run fast. If that even, I don't know how I'm trying to say this, but like, I don't think it hurts the light guys as much as long as they still run fast. That's like, I think they're still fine. It's when a heavier guy runs really, really slow. That's like, you got to be fast. And if you're light and fast, yes, you're probably less durable, but you're still fast
Yeah, you still have a trump card.
a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, I thought that was fine value for Mooney. But I like Mooney more than you. So,
Yeah.
I understand
And
why he did it because he's trying to kind of tear it down, get more picks.
yeah, but
So
if you're tearing it down, then like I'd rather trade Godwin. I'm probably trading Derek Carr. Like you really tear it down, kind of like TJ did. It's
kind
kind
of
of
like
like still
me
in
training
between.
camp.
Yeah, yeah,
But he's trying. I think he's trying. I don't think we're giving him enough credit. He was trying to trade me Godwin, but at too high of a value for what I wanted
yeah,
to do. So I think we
yeah.
talked about that on a previous
I think
show.
I've told him before. I'll trade for Godwin, just not right now.
Yeah. So I had him at 12 actually. Just not my cup of tea with the quarterbacks. I know he has Elijah Moore and Chris Godwin, but 4 picks this year. I guess 2 first next year, but I think that Jay Hart's going to be more of a mid to late because I think he's trying to win. He has Henry and Chubb as his running
Yeah,
back.
he's one of my top four for 22. So yeah,
Wow. Spoiler. And I know he has
top
a
four of playing in 22, like for the
okay.
championship, shipping it in 22.
I think that having this mash of 23 seconds is a little bit overrated, in my opinion. So that's kind of why I had him down. I guess I probably shouldn't have him at 12, but I don't know, man. Just no depth, only a couple receivers that I like. Nothing really else that I like other than the picks. So
Yeah,
that was my reasoning. But like I said, I have him kind of in a tier of 4 at the bottom.
yeah. So we are 3 for 3 on your bottom tier versus my bottom three. Do we go 4 for 4?
Um,
Flash lightning.
I was gonna say I was trying to think of a good segue to that. Like, could we get there in a flash or something stupid like?
That would have been good. So is Flash your last member of the bottom tier?
Yeah, I think I would have kind of weird, but I think I would rather have Cooper's team than Flash. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not. I have them all in the same tier.
Okay.
I would probably have
Yeah.
Flash at 9 or 10. So this is number 9 for you,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, this is number 9. Sorry, I'm looking at the numbers and I have a header on, so it's like number 10, but it goes down to 13. So that's why I was like, what? Yeah, it's 9. So I thought the big issue here, which if you scroll down a little bit, you see the tight ends and you see Eric Ebron and Noah Gray, like the no tight ends, and like obviously you can trade for
Bates.
tight ends, but it
Bates.
doesn't really have any picks. So it's like you're trading off starters from other positions. I do like the Rams stack, the Rams onslaught. So he's got Matt Stafford, he's got Cam Akers, and he's got Cooper Cup and Allen Robinson because Allen Robinson he lucked into. But I like that onslaught, but it's also kind of risky from a what happens if like Stafford gets injured, then like all 4 of those players go down. So then that's
Yeah.
that's kind of tough. You like that towards the end of the season, but I don't know if I like that from a beginning of the season dynasty team.
The other thing to think about with that type of stack is like, yes, Stafford can throw a double bubble to one of these guys, but like Robinson, Cup, and Akers, they can't score touchdowns at the same time
Yeah,
unless one
like
of them
you're
traded.
kind of capped on your upside. Like you might have a better floor of touchdowns. Like you always, if the Rams have 4 touchdowns, you get at least 2 of them, if not 3. But you're never gonna have 5,
He
probably.
he loves Cup and Akers, so he would never do this. But I would with this type of team, I would be looking to like tear down from Cup, keep Robinson at value, and get a different wide receiver with maybe some draft capital or a tight end, something like that. And then I would probably also, since I have Stafford and Lawrence, I'd either be trying to trade Lawrence or I'd be trying to trade. He has Deshaun Watson on his bench. I think he's got too much going on at QB and too much not going on at tight end. He needs to do
Yeah, I
something in
think,
that department.
and that's where, like, we talked about this, way, way back, like, I don't know, 6 episodes ago or something. But the idea of having Watson in the second round of a startup is just crazy to me. Even though that might be his value, I'm like taking somebody else there every time. So I think I'm trading Watson every time.
I think I just saw a startup where he went like pick 10 overall.
Oh,
I don't mind it if if things get cleared up a little bit more.
yeah.
If I had to rank dynasty quarterbacks, I would have him at like 5 or 6. I know that's gross to you, but
Yeah, I can't do it. There's just like, it's so scary. And he's probably still up there for me, but I just would prefer everybody else. And I want to get paid on top of it. But yeah, it's scary. All right. So those were my bottom teams. I did have Flash like the highest of those teams, and so I kind of have Flash in a tier with my next guy, which is also very funny that all of these teams don't have team names. Jay Brenning. So our mysterious Jay Brenning, who isn't really on the lead chat ever and doesn't respond to trades, but has a pretty good team, especially for 22.
what's funny is he probably will listen to this. He was like my original The Fan when I did Newts McBoots podcast. So Jay Brenning, get in the chat, man. What the hell? Quit caring about your
Yeah,
family so
respond to
much.
some trade offers. It could be also that everybody's just sending him trash, and so he's just not even worth logging into the app.
Yeah, but
So
like I don't think he's changed his starting lineup since I converted this league to sleeper because look, he has Rodgers on his bench and Najee and
yeah,
uh in the super flex spot. But I mean, if you look at his team, it's not really that old. Yes, it's
yeah,
lacking at the tight end position, but he
yeah. I
has a
put it
lot
in
of depth.
middle of the pack from an age perspective. I think he is probably top 1 or 2 for competing in 22.
Yeah, I would
So
agree. And I think he was back-to-back champion to start this league out, I believe.
mm,
Um gosh, I want to say he had a 3. I'm not sure. Who is the current champion in this league? We just switched to sleeper. I can't remember. I think he might be no, I can't remember who's the
was it
champion.
Flash?
Was it Flash, did you say?
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
I just
Gosh, I
wanted to hit
can't
on Flash.
I can't remember. It might have been one of the dispersal teams. Might have been. Or it's Jay Brenning. Might be Jay Brenning. You know what? I'm very curious right now. I gotta look it up.
Well, you can just find whoever has the 12th pick, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's why I'm just going quick to my Google sheet. I don't know why. Oh yeah, it was Golden Bears. So it's the person that slotted into Jay Hart. Bunch of people left this league because I basically was like getting everything. It was 50-50 of people wanting to go to sleeper, and I was like, well, I'm the
We're going to
commissioner.
sleeper.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry guys, like I don't want everyone their reasoning was all my leagues are on MFL and I'm like, well, I have to do everything for this league and all my leagues are on sleeper, so sorry. Anyway,
Yeah.
caused a lot of drama for sure, but worth it in the end for me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So,
anyway,
where does Jay Brenning stand for you?
we're in lockstep. He was my next team.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because of the, you know, kind of mid-range of age, like he's Hill and Diggs, Allen getting up there, Kamara, Jones getting up there for running back, but he still has like Eckler and Harris. Still has his out with his 23 first. Lacking a little bit wide receiver depth, but got a little bit of a third tight end upgrade there with Evan Ingram going to a new situation. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
gave a
like
lot of people ones for the draft picks, but he got a 2 because he still has his 23 first. A lot of people don't have their 23 first because TJ has them.
yeah, we all went a little bit crazy in that dispersal because there was a lot of talent on the board. So that was numero ocho, who is
Ocho.
7 for you.
Wiley.
Dude, I have the exact
Hey,
same ranking. I have
hey,
Whaley and Freddie in the
Wiley.
same tier.
So I think his team is potentially the best team for 22. I do get a little nervous from an age perspective because you got Hopkins and Waller, but the best two tight ends probably. There's somebody else that might have an argument with that. Somebody named Jim Drafter, but whatever. Waller and Andrews, I think, are the best from a production standpoint right now, from a tight end perspective. That in the league, in this league. Then you've got Herbert and you've got Wilson. So two stud QBs, two stud tight ends, and it's almost like the rest doesn't really matter, but the rest is good enough, I think, to potentially win in 22.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the running back depth for sure, and then the having no future picks of first round value. I mean, obviously, he still has some stuff going on here,
Yeah.
but got some sleepers. Definitely Galladay, Gallup could be some nice fill-ins for him in the flex position. Oh, I didn't even realize he has ETN. So I mean, that could be a home run for sure. In his
Yeah, he's
RB
got
one or
Singletary
two
too,
spot.
so a little draft risk, but if it swings the right way and Singletary doesn't get competition or good competition, then he's got another RB potentially ready to start. So
I just want to rag on him a little bit for the disrespect of Justin Herbert should be in the QB1 spot, and he's a Panthers fan with the Panthers logo. DJ Moore should be in that wide receiver 1 spot. Come on, it's about presentation, Wally.
it's all about presentation, which is also a part that Jay Brenning failed. So our two most competitive teams aren't really paying attention in the offseason because they are just waiting to listen when they can destroy us all.
So I want to break off a little bit because he acquired Herbert from me in this trade frenzy I went into the other day. So I gave up Herbert. Here, I'm gonna actually pull it up real quick because it's somewhere up here for the viewers to see. So a little bit of a lot going on here, if that makes any sense at all. I gave up Herbert and some throw-ins in Cedric Wilson and Uzama, which could be some spot starters in this upcoming season. Uh, for Tua, Claypool, Zach Wilson, and 109. Yeah, 109 doesn't show up for some reason. Sleeper, what are you doing? Um, so, like I said, I think Uzama and Wilson not worth much, like maybe a fourth each. And then Herbert, ideally, we always talk about for these top end guys, you want to get 4 first for them if you can. Hopefully, a couple of them are high. So, with the upgrade to the offense, I think Tua's at least 1.5 first. So breaking it down this way for Herbert, I got 1.5 first. I say Claypool's worth a first for sure. Still 23 years old, lots of upside. Hopefully they figure it out. And then you got to think Zach Wilson's worth 1 or 1.5. Like could be 1.5. So right away you're looking at 4, and then I'm getting the 109 too. So like between 4 and 5 I got.
Yeah, I think Wilson right now is just a single first. I think you put him in that same tier of unproven, risky QBs with the rookies. So I think he's at this point, the way the draft is projected, he's better than Sam Howell, but I think he's equivalent to like the Pickett and well, actually Pickett's probably the best example because of the 1 year of really good production.
Yeah. Um so I called Darren, aka Negro Damas from our Noob Gaming League, good friend of mine, well, probably one of my best friends for 13 years, got me into fantasy football. Told him about the trade. He was right away. I'd rather have Herbert, too much risk on the other side. But I'm not married to any of these guys. Like they might not be on my team in, within 3 hours of this podcast ending. Which one of them is not
Already down
on my
one.
team. I don't know if we want to save that one for when we get to one of our teams. We can save it. But
Yeah, we're gonna have to
spoiler,
wait a while though.
Zach Wilson is no longer on my team.
Yeah. So next person. Well, actually, Whaley, where's Whaley ranked for you?
Oh
What
yeah,
tier
we're
for
like
you?
we're in lockstep that he was
Okay.
my next pick, so that was 7, right?
Yeah, that was 7. Next player, next contestant, please. J Hart 777.
That's
Triple
exactly who I
sevens.
have next as well.
Yeah. So he's got elite tight ends. So that this is actually the one that there's 3 people that have all the tight ends. There's Whaley, and then there's J Hart too, and then there's you. So between those 3 teams, I think you have the top 6 to 8 tight ends, something like that, something stupid.
Yeah, so he has
So elite tight
go ahead.
ends. He's got Knox too, which is kind of crazy, but no
Yep.
wide receivers or very limited wide receivers. Does have 102 and 107, so then that's where you maybe get to well, he can just replace the wide receivers, and then you're starting to think he's pretty good.
I think that 102 has gotta be a quarterback for him though, likely because 'cause he's got Matt Ryan in his super flex.
You mean the elite Matt Ryan?
Yeah. He's got that stack with Pittman.
Yeah, I don't
That's what
know. I think I'm kind of with you, especially as people continue to talk about this draft. There's a lot of QB risk here, and I kind of like all the wide receivers. From a value standpoint, yeah, I think you got to go QB or you got to go running back. But I think it's kind of like last year when everybody was pushing down Jamar Chase for all the elite quarterbacks, and now
Yeah,
everybody would prefer Chase to those.
same with Pitts.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of risk at his running back position, but a lot of upside. Um,
yeah,
I guess I'll take back the gotta take a QB at 2. He could ride it out, maybe trade back,
yeah.
figure it
And
out.
he's one of my top 4 teams for 22.
Yeah, for sure. I just, unless he just hits up a running back at that 2 spot, kinda sketchy running back depth. Um, I don't know. I That's where I had him too at 6. I had him at 6.
Okay.
But that's like,
Next for
sorry, real quick, so
okay.
that bottom 4 tier, then I had Whaley and Brenning in their own tier, and then I have, like, a 4-pack tier right here.
Okay. So I had Whaley and Hart kind of in the same tier, but I did have Hart higher. Next person for me,
Number 5.
number 5, TJ. So TJ, I have he's got a very young team. He's got I think elite QB, yeah, Kyler Murray
And Trey Lance.
and Trey Lance, and then lots and lots of first round picks. So he's got 7 first round picks overall. 103, yeah, 103 in 22, and then 623 firsts. So I think he's set up well from a future perspective. He has also talked about wanting to win this league in 22. So I'm very curious how long he holds on to those firsts versus trading them for assets to compete in 22.
The thing about his 23 first is, yes, the Flash Lightning one is probably high. The Nico Titan one's only high if injury happens, but the other ones are, all these picks besides the Flash Lightning are, potential playoff teams. So, but then, some of them are going to lose early. So you're talking 107, 108, which is still a good pick.
Yeah, one of those competing teams might be the 101, like somebody else has had happened to them before.
Yeah, could be. But if you think about those teams, like, yes, I'm lacking at quarterback, and we'll get to that, but I have everything else pretty much locked down. Flash Lightning, I mean, we already talked about him being a high pick. Nico is kind of balanced but older. Same with Whaley. And then, yours, we'll get to it, but you have Mahomes and Jefferson. So, like, you have some pretty good production locked down to where I think your potential points are going to be all right. But anyway, this team, that TJ's team, yes, the quarterbacks are studs. I think I like this team a lot. I actually kind of threw my rankings together quick. Maybe I have them too high, but I have them at 2 because I like the youth. I like that he's probably going to flip Williams, Ayuk. I know we're ragging on Rondale, but still some upside there. He's got a solid tight end in there, even though it's not a top 5 tight end yet. Definitely potential to be with Goddard. Njoku, maybe some new life with Watson in town. But I just think AJ Dillon, is going to be that Derrick Henry type breakout when Jones is finally moving on from the Packers. Still really young, still got stuff he can like sell in season, like Drake. I just saw Sammy Watkins in one of my other leagues go to a Packers fan for 306. Disgusting.
Wow. Yeah, it's bad. No.
Bad trade. So I
Lazard
think
to the moon.
he's got a lot of flexibility and a lot of 23 firepower along with the 103, which might be a kind of a precarious spot if Jay Hart wants to take Kenny Walker at 2. Then, I mean, he's probably going to have to pick a wide receiver high. But, I mean, it might work out, like you said, with Jamar Chase type deal.
Yeah, I think the big thing to me is the 23 firsts. If you were to convert those into playable assets now, like would that be enough to to fix this team or to make this team competitive? And I don't know that that's true. Like I think that's where he starts to go down the ranks a little bit for me, as in not 2, but still very high at what, 5?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have really any depth. So like he could break apart the first and get more competitive, but then I think he's kind of in that middle of the pack from a compete now perspective. I don't think he can transform it to an elite team.
I think the reason why I have it higher than you is because of the things I've already said and the fact of the strategy he's deploying is that he's got some lineup holes that are going to lower his max points for. So he potentially has two top 3 owning his own 23 first picks, which he can load up on some running backs in 2023. And then with those, like say at 103 this year, he takes Garrett Wilson. So then he's got Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, Brandon Ayuk in his 3 wide receiver spots. And then he's got all those other 23 firsts to like load up on more positional players next year. And he's like, could potentially be a force starting next year. So that's why I valued his team so highly.
Yeah. I think it's probably, I might be leaning more into his comments about trying to compete in 22. And that would make me a little more concerned for his team, because to do that, I think you're probably reversing all the work you've done and you're not going to get better value. So better to hold on to the picks as is and rebuild for a year.
Yeah, but as we've seen in that other league, he can get impatient. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, he can.
We're into
All
the
right.
top third of the league now, number 4.
Top third of the league. And so all 4 of these are the same score to me, 7.25. So I do kind of like the idea of how they just randomly sorted. So I'm going to leave them where they are, but it does feel a little douchey to have it the way I do. So Real McSpanky is number 4 right now, but again, tied with the other teams. I think his team's really good from an age perspective, and then still has some draft picks, which is common for a lot of my better teams in the league. So I think Waddle and the QBs, and then he's got a couple firsts. So I think he's set up well for the future and a little bit for now. I did have him lowest of my top teams for competing in 22. So I don't think he's going to win this year. And so that might say, well, you should probably get rid of Fournette. You should probably get rid of Hunter Henry. Maybe there's some shifts you should do, but I think overall it's set up well for a dynasty team.
Yeah, I actually had him at 5. But I think he's got the pillars in place, which I like. Josh Allen and Fields hopefully becomes a pillar, but I mean, definitely a good dynasty value right now. Sorry about that. She got caught on my cord for my headset. Lacking in the tight end department, but Hunter Henry's not old yet and still upside with his tight ends. But yeah, just like that he has. I mean, you might say Mitchell is not. He's still young though. He was a rookie last year, so I like that he has a young guy, even if he's not a good RB1, young running back, one good young wide receiver. So he's got everything like kind of set in motion for like just being patient with this team and then gonna get something nice at 105, something nice at 112 to just keep adding and then still has his 23 picks. So I do like this team a
Yeah.
lot.
Look at his backup wide receivers. I'm trying to remember if he has somebody else that should start over Patrick.
Doesn't
That
seem
would
like it. Oh,
Tyler
Lockett.
Lockett.
Lockett
Yeah.
and Parker. Those are
Yeah.
probably in season sells.
Yeah.
Or didn't he just buy Lockett for like
He
2
did just buy a
something?
lot. Yeah,
Oh,
206.
interesting.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it was 206
Mm.
for Lockett and then 206 for Rondale Moore. That's our set of trades there. So yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
I'd
know.
much rather hang on to that pick with this type of team, but that's just me. I guess
Yeah,
he's thinking like he's gonna get production from Boyd and Patrick, so anything can
yeah.
happen.
Anything can happen. Yeah. So I don't know. He's
That's like the ultimate cop out of any take. Well,
yeah,
football, anything could happen.
yeah. Next team for me, and again, I'm sorry for being a douche. T Barons.
You're just saying that because you have yourself so high. That's
Yeah,
how
I
I
have
feel
myself
too.
and you so high. It's like, oh wow, great podcast, guys. You guys think your two teams are the best. You idiots.
That's why we're on the mic and they're not.
If you would like to discuss your team, you could hop on the pod anytime.
Yeah, just
Take
make
my
sure you have
place.
proper equipment, not crackly earphones.
I don't know. You've been willing to deal with somebody like that for 6 episodes, so
Hey, I mean, just like your headphones are like your flash lightning tight end, you know. Gotta it'll be rectified sooner or later.
someday it'll be better. So his team, I think, is really good. Like young quarterback and Burrow has the Mixon, Higgins, Burrow stack. Uh, Mac Jones and Tannehill can flip for the other super flex position. Got Swift too, and like Devonta Smith's young. Tight ends are a little weak, so that was my call out for him. Tight ends are weak, but he does still have draft picks and overall a young team. Feels like, and I think of the teams, I think he could easily switch to number one for me. He's also got 223 first.
Yeah. And at 23 first potentially being pretty high from Cooper. So
Ooh, I did not take that into account. Yeah, so that probably makes him because that to me right now looks like 101 to 104, something like that.
so I had you at 4 and Barron's at 3 because I like that he has like the young running back depth. I like that. That's kind of
Yeah.
the difference maker and that extra 23 first, whereas you don't have any 23 firsts.
Yeah. I think that I was kind of saying, well, I've got multiple 22 first, which cancel that out, but knowing that that Cooper pick is going to be high, I'd probably join you in flipping.
Yeah, I like the team a lot, and he's a smart dynasty player. Uh, I've sent him. I don't think I've ever gotten a deal done with him yet because we're both very bullheaded and stingy. And I think the last offer I sent him was something for Swift. Can't remember what exactly. Something for Swift. We'll touch back on it if I remember. But anyway, so then I had TJ at 2. Obviously, you have yourself at 2.
Yeah.
Pull your
Yeah.
team up.
I do have myself at 2. So my big concerns are tight end 2 and QB 2. But I think overall, like I really like my running backs. Some people might not like my running backs, but I like my running backs with Edmonds and Connor. Or is this your Fournette team? I don't even remember now.
No,
Yeah,
Edmonds and
Connor.
Connor.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But I am
then
starting right
it's
now. Ricky Seals Jones. Now I do have a ton of early seconds. early to mid seconds. So I'm pretty excited about the potential of those picks, but I probably have to trade some portion of that for a tight end at some point if I'm going to compete in 22. So I'm still kind of undecided on that a little bit. Feels like I could compete, but I probably wait till like midseason. If Connor's having the year that I think he can, then maybe I buy a tight end at that point versus like Connor gets injured, then I tear it down a little bit.
Yeah, we're like kind of similar builds in the fact that we're like less on the running back depth, which kind of concerns me for both of us. But like we have so much wide receiver depth that like if the QB situation gets sketchy, like I'm just plugging in a nice wide receiver that's going to give me 10 to 15 points in that QB spot. I like that consistency, you know.
And now, since we're on my team, we can talk about our trade because I got Zach Wilson from you. I stole Zach Wilson from you. As we talked about last week, Zach Wilson is elite and deserving of multiple first round picks, multiple first round pick worthy assets.
So this is the trade. Um, so I sent AJ Brown, Zach Wilson, and 104 to Payson for Devontae Adams, Carson Wentz, and Javonte Williams. My breakdown of this trade is I like Javonte Williams more than 104. Like I feel like 104 is a risk of me not, I'm risking waiting for Kenneth Walker there. And if he doesn't get there, then I'm kind of disappointed because I have so many wide receivers already. So then the difference between Javonte and 104 is fine for me to, give up AJ Brown for Devontae Adams and give up Zach Wilson for Carson Wentz, I definitely feel like I overpaid. I need Javonte Williams to be a freaking animal, and I need Adams to produce this year to make it worth it on my side.
Yeah, I wish this was sorted a little differently because I think Javante and AJ Brown are pretty similar, but I do have Javante over AJ Brown. And then I think that 104 versus Devonte Adams, I lean 104 there because of the age of this 104 pick that doesn't have any age right now.
Yeah.
And then I lean Wilson over Wentz. So I think that, yeah, I definitely won that trade. Definitely pulled one over on you, even though you offered it to me. And I was questioning doing it at the time.
I mean, did you really pull one over on me if Wilson doesn't work out though?
Well, I already know Wentz isn't going to work out, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I guess it was just me kind of putting my vote of confidence into Javonte, and I really think Devontae is going to get fed by Carr. So that was with where my
Yeah.
team's at. I was okay with losing the value that I lost to because I pretty much had Barkley. Well, I mean, we'll get to it right here. I guess you have me at number 1, huh?
Where's your chimes? You should have some sort of like winter noise. I don't know.
Oh, here. Oh, it's not on. Dang it.
That's crickets. That's not the same.
Yeah, it was the crickets. Just no crickets. I don't have it set up. So yeah, this is
So
my team. Who I
I'll
feel
talk about
douchey
it so you
too.
don't have to talk about yourself.
Yeah,
I'll,
I
I'll
feel
do it.
douchey. I have myself ranked number 1 also. Sorry.
Oh
Right, people.
gosh. Yeah. Terrible, terrible podcast, terrible group of guys. So your team, I think, is real good. You got Kittle and Hawkinson. So uh, again, we have three teams that both have double tight ends and a tight end premium double tight end league that are very good. And then you've got the depth at QB. You don't really have the elite QB or elite set of QBs, but I think between Wentz, Mariota, Goff, and Locke, like there's potentially some production in 22. I think that's the risk though of competing in 22. So none of the top four teams in the league, from my perspective, are actually set up well to compete in 22. So I think we're all in that middle of the pack range, which is in general in Dynasty not where you want to be. You want to be first or last. So that's one of the risks for my top teams in quotes. But I think you're looking very good. I don't think you should have traded for Adams because there's some risk there, and he's old, and you would much rather have 104. But whatever, I think you'll be okay.
But part of the reason why I did that trade is because I needed something else at running back, and I wanted it to be younger than Barkley. and I just had so many wide receivers already. Like I said, if I'm getting a wide receiver at 104, it's like, oh, okay, I have Lamb, AJ Brown, Judy. Maybe I shouldn't have traded for Judy, but I think I traded DJ Moore for Judy. So,
Yeah.
that sub in DJ Moore. I just have people like don't like wide receivers in this league. Something because I mean, I
Yeah.
have Chenault, Claypool, Gabe Davis, also Michael Thomas. Like,
Yeah. So I gave your team the 10 score best depth in the league. And then like the one thing for you, like draft picks wise, I didn't think that you were as well set up as some of the other teams. It's more so because of the seconds, but you also don't have 23 picks either. You got some fourths, but
I got the high 23 fourth. Something is probably going to give with one of these wide receivers. Maybe I move Lamb in season for a better QB to slide Tua down into my super flex and have somebody else, like, I don't know, maybe some sort of combination deal to get Carr or Rodgers, something like that.
yeah. I think what happens before that though is like if Locke escapes the draft or if Goff escapes the draft, like one of those three probably escapes the draft. And I don't know if you're going to try and sell them before the draft, but it feels like between those three or four, like you should be trading those QBs for firsts.
Yeah, see, but this league is so like savvy now that I doubt that that's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. I'm probably just going to end up leaving that hodgepodge for some depth in season. But what's funny is like I say I have so many wide receivers, and then like I'm probably going to get wide receivers at 109 and 111.
Yeah.
But that also I wanted to say that's my out for like a rookie QB. Like say a rookie QB goes to one of these situations like Detroit or Seattle, and people are loving the skill position players because a lot of these teams have like QBs locked down. So maybe me going lighter at the QB position in this last trade works to my advantage, and I get some good value at 109, 111 if QBs slide. Or I just use a wide receiver to move up into that 106 range to get a QB.
Yeah. I hate you. Your team's pretty good.
I think that the thing that like I said, I feel douchey and I hate to put myself at one, but the thing that puts my team over the top for me is having what I have as the dynasty RB2 and having these two tight ends locked in that are sub 30 years old. I know they're
Oh, I
injury
should have
prone.
charged you more. I could have charged you more, couldn't I?
Yeah.
I could have got like an extra second or something out of you.
I don't have
I
any.
could have got Mark Mariota from you.
I don't know. He's pretty elite. But anyway, I appreciate it. I appreciate the ranking. I appreciate anyone propping up my teams. It makes me feel really good and makes me keep wanting to do this podcast because I'm obviously doing something right then.
Yeah, whatever.
So that was the Newts McBoots breakdown. Just to run it back real quick. For my tiers, I had Nipples, Nico, Flash, and Cooper as the bottom four, and then I had Jay Brenning and Whaley as kind of in a tier of 8 and 9, or no, 7 and 8, and then I had Jay Hart, McSpanky, P Burnett, and actually I would probably put Barons up. So I have a 3-pack from 3 to 5 of Burnett, McSpanky, and Jay Hart, just because like we all view players differently, and like just some of the players on those teams are not players that I prefer. What did I just do? And so then my top 3 tier would be me, TJ, and T Barons, just because I just like TJ's setup. I just like it. I probably would move Trey Lance for a different quarterback and probably Murray too, but like there's no denying the dynasty value of those guys. That's a first round startup pick and a second round startup pick.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. We're all going to be wrong.
Yeah. Anything can happen. So let's just move on to some general trades here. Did I want to talk before I focus on the fan. I want to talk about one that I did in a 12-team super flex that I think you might like possibly. I don't know if you saw this one yet. It's kind of down towards the bottom. In
Uh,
12-team super flex, I made a trade with Loops. Shout out to Loops. I gave him Mixon and Chark for Big Dog, Derrick Henry, Michael Thomas, and Laviska Shenault.
yeah, actually stare at it. I'm still scrolling because you pasted 50 things in there.
And I'm gonna pull up the
I had
and I
not
can
seen
put it
that
up
one
on
yet.
the share right now.
Oh, yeah, there you go. It's better. So, it's basically Henry and Thomas for Mixon because Henry's
Yeah.
below Mixon. But from a production standpoint in 22, I think Henry's well above Mixon, but it could flip flop. And then Thomas is just like such a wild card to me. I could still see him not playing at all in 22. I was having this argument with Yields last year, like what was Thomas worth? And I was saying like I don't know, I'd take like a late second. He was like, oh, I'd pay that all day for Thomas, but I couldn't get a late second in the leagues I had Thomas. So I don't know. He's probably worth more than that now because people think he's going to play. So good trade if you ever were able to make it, but still a ton of risk to me. And he's getting old now. So
Definitely. And then just swapping Chenault and Chark, like pretty similar values
yeah,
for those assets. And obviously I'm a Chenault guy proclaimed on this show previously. But I just want to put some context to it. Um, sorry, Loops, but Loops teams is kind of a mess. But my team, where is it? Let Russ Bake. That's my team name. So I have Wilson and Tua and Mariota at quarterback, but I have Barkley, Henry, and Akers and Mitchell. So that's why I felt comfortable like getting older at running back, but like you said, probably a better production profile if he stays healthy. So I was looking for that like that boom in my RB2 slot. And then I have Andrews and
I think
Goddard.
that's probably your RB1 slot, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah. No. Disrespecting Barkley, bro. Uh Howard and Goddard as my backup tight ends. And then I have Debo, DJ Moore, Cooper, Juju, and now I have Michael Thomas, Mike Williams, and Chenault at wide receiver. So I thought taking on the risk of Mike Thomas as like a fill-in was nice. I liked it. So that was why I did it.
Yeah.
All right. So I win every trade except for the one I did with you.
You even think you won that one, so it's fine.
Well, time will tell, like it always does with trades. So this was a trade that I had told you about in a 12-team super flex, star 2 tight end, the fan. I'm gonna go to that league actually. Oh, whoa, I got it. Oh yeah, I have an outgoing trade offer. This guy never answers. I think that is 112. Njoku and 112 for Hawkinson. Kind of weak. Anyway,
No.
that's probably why he hasn't responded.
Yeah. He said ignore.
So the fan, let's see, I should just pull it up on the share here. Oh, this was a trade that just went down. Andy Dalton for 10 fab dollars.
Uh,
Seems
give me
weak.
Dalton. Yeah, give me
Yeah,
Dalton.
yeah, for sure. Why can I not find it? It's 'cause the screen's so big. It is that was me calling someone's team a dumpster fire.
Classic Newts thinking he's the best and everybody else stinks.
Oh, it doesn't show any of the stuff. Whatever. Anyway, I'm
Uh,
gonna end the screen share now. Back to our beautiful faces. So the fan, Benny Raiders, and this team that we've kind of talked about before. We went through a bunch of his trades where he's, this was his first dynasty league, so he went through some growing pains. Took the Kamara hit this last year, and then made a bunch of moves. So he had 23 first from a team that's pretty good and a 23 first from a team that's pretty middle of the road, if not bad, that he gave up to shout out to Marique Noodleman. It's a good name. And then he received in return 108 this year, 111, 205, 206, and 304.
Yeah,
Which,
I think I've talked about this before. Like, if you're rebuilding, you'd prefer to have the picks now because then you can make a draft pick and potentially gain value over the next year. There's some of those seconds might become first round picks. And right now, rookies are still kind of insulated. Now, in this draft, I don't know that 108 and 111, like that might move towards more of a second round pick next year. So there's some risk there that you're like 111 is not worth a 23 first because people today are trading 111 for a 23 first or even 108 for a 23 first. But I still feel like getting 205 and 206, that's worth it. And I'd probably make that trade in the rebuilding mode. Better to have more picks.
yeah, and so I have his team. I'm gonna pull his team up for the screen here. Not my team, his team.
Weird. You're caring about your team again.
Yeah, so pretty low end assets for his team, but like we said, he kind of broke it down as Bateman and Ayuk. He's got a couple like, questionable quarterbacks. So yeah, like that 108, 111, probably building on the wide receiver core, if not maybe getting a quarterback at 108 possibly. And then 201, 205, 206, 207, 208. And then has his own 23 first back. So, and then actually has 4 firsts in 2024. So really building for the future. I think that having those second round picks is going to be like guys like Pickens, Zamir White, Rashad White, taking some shots like you said, Christian Watson probably.
I don't know. Christian
Doesn't.
Watson's more like 111, right?
I I know you're being sarcastic there, but I think when it's all said and done, it probably will be. Like,
Yeah.
people are not smitten yet, but a good
Yeah.
landing
People are
spot's gonna
very
change
smitten
that.
with Sky Moore. Sky Moore is now like a late first round pick, which is funny to me.
I'm gonna be so sad if the Packers go too high on him. He just seems like a Packers pick. Like Packers. I know it's a new regime from
People are
these
talking
older
about how
teams,
good of a blocker he is.
like Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb. It's just
Yeah.
like they never go.
So he's gone. Guess it's just me now. Well, everybody, I'd like to say that Newt is to himself. He decided to commit. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I hit the side button on my mouse and it took me out of the studio. I'm glad it was still recording.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to listen back to that. It was really good. It was about to be good.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I re-listen to the podcast because I like to improve and all that good stuff. Yeah, I know.
I
Oh,
heard.
quick
Speaking of
apology.
improving, I heard about a guy on what is it? One of the Goat District. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Goat District podcast. I don't know if you've listened to that. It's like a high stakes podcast. But latest guy, Habib, he is very good. He has won the football guys championship 2 years in a row, like 750 grand, which is nuts. Worst podcaster. So many uhs and space and I so bad. So at least we're better than that. You're welcome, everybody.
Yes, you're welcome. I'm trying, and I got to do a quick apology. I used the R word last week. I want to apologize for that. When it comes to the Washington Commanders, I said the old name on accident. So
Oh
sorry if
yes,
I offended anybody with that. It's just bad habit. Um,
I was offended.
yeah, yeah. So sorry about that, guys. Working on it. It's hard when you've been saying that team name for 30 years and then
Yeah,
change it. So it's tough.
I'm still
Um,
gonna call the San Diego Chargers the San Diego Chargers, so it's okay.
yeah, St. Louis Rams,
Mm-hmm.
Oakland Oakland Raiders. A lot of moves. A lot of moves have
I feel
happened.
like the Oakland Raiders are like permanently the Oakland Raiders. That one's not like the Las Vegas Raiders. No, no, it's Oakland. It's the displaced Oakland Raiders.
How long until Jacksonville moves? I feel like that's the next
Oh,
one.
yeah,
They've already talked about moving to England, but that would just be a train wreck, in my opinion. Like
yeah, it'd be
different
terrible.
times, too much travel.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right. So I think that's all I got. You got any final thoughts?
I mean, my team in the league, my league breakdown, I ranked myself too highly. I'm more like 3 or 4. I'd like to apologize to the rest of my league mates, apologize to the listeners, apologize to Newts. I got a little full of myself, put myself at 2. I'll move myself down to 3 or 4 because I now know that T Barons has probably the 101 in 22 or 23, whatever. It's all good.
Yeah, that's definitely a big factor. I just want to say about my team that you disrespected it, and it is truly elite, and I'm gonna win this league like 3 years in a row. So sorry everybody for taking all your money for the next couple years.
I'm so excited for that. Oh, Newt's pick is 101 again.
No, no, that's not gonna happen. I have so much versatility. I could get my pick back in the snap of a finger with all the assets I have on my team. I should do that today. Next episode, this team's gonna be a rebuild.
Pin it.
Yeah. All right. So follow me at Gem Drafter and him at P underscore something Burnett.
I think it's best name. I don't know. Don't even worry about it. I don't
Yeah, it's
tweet.
fine.
It's okay.
Yeah, just the at Gem Drafter because that's where you can get all the tweets about the show coming out and all that stuff. So it's in the top right corner there. All right. Adios from me. Sayonara.
Adios from me too.
We'll catch you guys next time. Appreciate the listen if you made it this far. Oh, we're under the hour and a half, so maybe people made it.
You sure we don't want to riff for like three minutes or something?
No, no, no.